Hey everyone, Smooth Brain Operator here, talking to whoever's listening out there. My last video was going over my reasons as to kind of a summary of rogal dorn, why I think he should be the next Primarch to return, and kind of what led up to the point in which why I think he should return. And the last point we left off on was that I know the text and or book is out there, but I can't seem to find it. I don't know where it's at or how to find it, but apparently his mysterious disappearance, I will say, because he's not dead, because there is no body. His mysterious disappearance was in one of the Black Crusades, I want to say, and it was a fleet battle, and he was on one of the enemy ships, one of the Traitor Legion ships, and he was, last anyone saw of him was that he was fighting tooth and nail, just surrounded by Chaos Legionnaires, and they were leaping upon him and jumping at him and thrashing at him, and he was just alone fighting to the end. And then that's it. That's the last anyone saw of him. And then apparently they retook the ship or something like that, or at least were able to fight back to the point where they last saw him on the ship. But when they got to that point, all they saw were, hundreds, I'm guessing, hundreds of bodies, Space Marine bodies littered everywhere, Chaos Space Marine bodies, and rogal dorn's hand. And that's it. That's all they found. And to my knowledge, that is the updated lore. That is the current status of rogal dorn, which is, we don't know. I feel like if he was dead, he would just have been dead right there. I feel like if Chaos killed him, they would have been lording it, right? They would have had him chained to the ship on the outside of the hull, or they would have had him, I don't know. They would have been definitely like showing it off like a battle trophy. But they didn't, or they haven't, or they can't, or something. I don't know. I just think he's alive because there's nothing but his hand was recovered, and there's been no sign that he was killed. And if there's one thing I know Chaos would love to do is just rub it in the Imperium's face that they killed another Primarch. But they haven't done that. And why? Because he's probably still alive. So that's the last we know of him. That's the last I've heard of him. That's the latest info, which is probably very, very old info at this point. And again, I would love to read that passage and or book that happens in. I just want to read it for myself and go from there. And because of all that, everything he went through, commanding the siege of Terra, trying to fight for the Emperor, fight with the Emperor, instead having a mental fight with Khorne, Chaos God, and then getting there and it's too late, and then watching all his brothers disappear, trying to rebuild the Imperium, but he himself is utterly broken. So what does he do? He goes to fight Abaddon, the Black Crusade, and then he disappears. So we don't know, and I think that's good because it's a wonderful opportunity to bring him back, right? Can you imagine a rogal dorn who is like significantly changed, or maybe he's a slight I don't know, like maybe he's not too eager to fight anymore. Maybe he's like living like a hermit life, like Ben Kenobi, like in Star Wars when Obi-Wan becomes the old man Ben Kenobi. Or and of course I'd love to see like his new prosthetic hand that he has. Maybe it's got like some super cool ability on it, a gun pops out of it, something, make it kind of neat or whatnot. But I know this is a 40,000, this is 40k, this doesn't really that kind of stuff, guns in metal hands don't really happen. But still, he's a Primarch, right? You can have fun with it, you kind of make it kind of neat. Maybe he's got a bolter mounted to his new bionic hand or something like that. Maybe he comes back as like a lone warrior, right? Like I know Lionel Johnson's kind of doing the lone knight, going out fighting chaos wherever he can right now, but he's actually doing that with his legion. So maybe rogal dorn can really do that, really fulfill that role more, where he just goes out, finds chaos, stomps it out, and then keeps moving, right? He doesn't stay, he doesn't care to stay or be seen. Maybe his armor has taken on a different look now. Maybe he's had to work on his own armor. So he has this kind of jumbled piece together power armor, so it doesn't even really look like his own anymore. And so therefore it also kind of acts as like a disguise, right? As he's just trying to mentally recover. Now it's been 10,000 years. Maybe he has a little bit, maybe he hasn't. Maybe he doesn't have closure yet from absolutely everything he's been through. He's got PTSD to, the max effect and then some. So, especially with the, Sanguinius dying, the Emperor dying, he feels like it's his fault. There's so much to unpack there. And that's why I think rogal dorn is one of the most compelling Primarchs to come back. You get the right writer, the correct writer, to be able to properly unpack all this, and I think rogal dorn's story could almost be better than Guilliman's. And I think Guilliman has a really good, compelling story right now that they definitely need to expand upon. We need to see him with the lion. We need to see them talking about Imperium Secundus. We need to see them kind of digging back into the past to try to heal and move forward into the future, reconnect their bonds as brothers. They need that time. In Imperium Secundus, they had that time to bond a little bit, and they had some time. I feel like we need another book like that where the two of them can get back together, and maybe that'd be a great opportunity to bring back rogal dorn into that. There's a million different ways to do it, and all of which would be good. I don't think there's a wrong answer either way. I just think the correct answer is not to leave him mysteriously gone, and I think, of course, the correct answer is to bring him back, so long as the story is compelling. Because I love the story. I absolutely love the old Wh40k, the old lore, and I love the heresy. Now I like the new lore coming out and the new stories coming out. I'm looking forward to read more about Roboute Guilliman returning and just all the hoops he has to jump through. And so it's like, why not? Rogal dorn would be a perfect addition, and his story would be just so deep in his growth. Maybe he has grown. Maybe he's already healed. And in the rogal dorn we see would be, as far as he acts and his character would be different, right? It might just be different. He might not be about the Imperium anymore, like he is, but he's like not about leading his legion anymore. He might say, I'm done with that. I'm just a lone warrior. I'm done leading legions. I'm done fighting and being the leader of battles and having soldiers die under his command. He might be done with that. He's like, I am solely just a singular warrior. Maybe Garrow, maybe he reflects on his brief time with Nathaniel Garrow and says, you know what? He had it right. He was just a warrior for the Emperor. He didn't care to command, and even though he was a battle captain, but maybe he's like, maybe that's the route I'll go. So maybe he will go more that route, the Ronin, the lone warrior, the knight going out and just righting wrongs, maybe. And maybe that's what he still needs to heal from. I don't know. I think it's a pretty good idea. And again, you can't go wrong with rogal dorn bringing him back into the fold. Maybe he decides to come back and just stand sentinel in front of the Emperor, like truly stand there and never leave his father's side, and will be ready to fight to the last against anything and all odds. Maybe he goes out and fights side by side with Roboute Guilliman. Maybe he goes with the lion. Maybe, I don't know, right? There's just so many different ways. Maybe we find him with Vulcan, right? What if Vulcan went out on his own little journey, found him, helped him heal, and has been helping him heal? We all know Vulcan is by far the kindest Primarch of all of them, and he's the one that's like, he wears his feelings on his sleeve when it comes to his brothers, that he wants to hug them, he wants to hang out with them, he wants to be with his brothers. And so maybe, what if Vulcan just did the same thing, went out and found his brother, saved him, helped him, brought him back to wherever he is, and just said, hey, I got a farm here. I got a nice little farm and a vineyard and blacksmith shop over there, and we're just gonna live life. And maybe that's what they need to heal. So then when they do come back into the fold, they're ready to fight for the Emperor and bring justice to the traitors and bring justice to the traitor legions. And I don't know. I think it's a cool idea. I want nothing more than him to come back. I think by far his story is the most compelling and the deepest, and could be just, if written just right, mind-blowing. But tell me what y'all think. Like, comment below, subscribe. Let me know what y'all think about it. Should Rogaldorn come back? Should he not come back? Should he stay away? Should he be the last one to come back? You know, let me know. Should they find his corpse? Should they find his skeleton somewhere? Or maybe he's now puppeted by a chaos demon. Who knows, right? Let me know in the comments. Let me know what y'all think. Anyways, thanks for listening. Thanks for hanging around. Remember, I know y'all work hard. I know everyone that listens to this goes out there and works hard. So don't forget to play hard, relax, treat yourself, take care of yourself, and go have some fun. If you're working a hard day, then you should go have fun in the evenings and do something that is relaxing and enjoying for yourself. Whether that's painting Warhammer 40k miniatures, watching a movie, going to be with friends. All the above. Guys, don't forget to go have fun, be safe, and peace.